See that works. Okay.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Meet the Delegates series. It's a new series from Governance Ambassadors. We're going to be introducing delegates, and they're going to be explaining their background, things they like about the protocol, and really get to know people here. So we have Alucard.eth, a longtime community member and an ambassador and a community manager. And we have AX07 here, another longtime community member. And without further ado, let's get started, guys.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, sorry about the video. I can't show my face, but I would have liked to show my face and try and explain a little bit with my hands and whatsoever. But it's okay. So yeah, I'm AX07. So if you can go, this is my hedgie. It was the first hedgie that I got. It was airdropped for me. So. Yeah, could you pass to this second slide? Thank you. So yeah, my background is I first started to hear about crypto in 2014 during my first year of university studying chemistry. So I'm a chemist graduate. And I was quickly put off about the idea because, like everybody else, I thought it was like a scam. And with Mount Gox happening and all the rest, I just disregarded. So then a few years later, in 2017, I really heard about it again, and like in May. So I decided to put some money on the table and make myself dig deep into the blockchain and how it works and all the rest. So I bought like $100 of Bitcoin, and to see like if I lose it, it's okay. It's only $100, but let's see what can we do with it. So it was at the time it was like $3,000. So I started studying, and I was amazed how you could do a decentralized financial system, like decentralized money, and how the miners work and the blocks and all the rest. So uh, like in the boom of 2017, close to like 10K, I sold everything because I thought it was a bubble. And then I saw it go up to 20K, and I was FOMOing again. So that made me even want to stick around even more. So after that, I continued studying Bitcoin and how Ethereum works. I joined the Ivan on Tech Academy. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's like it was the crypto mornings. Every day you had Ivan on Tech talking about crypto, and yeah, I started studying like Solidity and how your C20 tokens work. And I started to, it was like 2019 when I started to work and really started to buy and DCA into all like buying Bitcoin as a regular investment. And like I knew it was so low, so cheap that someday it would pay off. So yeah, 2019 to 2020 was DCA all the way. And then once Bitcoin hit all-time highs, I had like loads of money saved up. So I decided to leave my job, and I was famous over there because I was the guy that retired 2 years after working. So that was a that was a good compliment, and decided to go full-time crypto into and experience the DeFi summer. It was amazing how all these different protocols worked, and yeah, I started to look into dYdX V1 in the early stages, where it wasn't even perpetual contract. It was just like X2, X3 leverage, and that's it. MakerDAO with CDPs, Aave, and Uniswap. So it was all fascinating to me how this decentralized world is going to revolutionize the financial system. And it was clear to me that I wanted to be part of this decentralization. So started studying it, and Um, yeah, I fell in love with the dYdX community. It was amazing. I got the first airdrop, and then the hedgie, so that was amazing. I couldn't believe, like, it was it's like airdrop money is like something surreal. And so yeah, that's a bit of my background. So if you could pass the second slide, please, to the next slide. Yeah, so in terms of what I can bring to dYdX as a delegate, would be my main skills are like language skills. So I can speak in English fluently, Spanish and Portuguese. So I would be able to communicate in those areas or languages for people that is like, if it's going to be a decentralized exchange for the whole world, the more languages we have, the better. And I have good understanding of how tokenomics work for different protocols and how they are not only for voting power, but like you can just get you can get trading rewards or passive income by staking them and all the rest. And also, I'm a natural leader, not by choice, but it's just by being empathetic with others and knowing what is the best for everyone. So, yeah, I think being a delegate would be like something natural for me. And I always take into account what other people think and have to say, and always try and have the best intention for not just the holders, but the protocol itself. And I'm currently trying to contribute, doing the bounty for the weekly market report. So yeah, and I'm pretty active. Well, I think I'm pretty active on Discord and on the forum. It's great to see how like a DAO works and how something can just function in a decentralized way like this. It's amazing for me. So yeah, next slide. Yeah, thank you. So why do I want to contribute to dYdX? Because I think I started trading in BitMEX, and I quickly realized how centralized it was. And I was in the lookout for a decentralized trading platform and found the V1 dYdX. So I've been a user since day one, and I know and I believe that it's an amazing product and that it will be the #1 decentralized contract exchange in the world. And so it's amazing. I love to explain and help the community in any manner possible, and to discuss governance issues in the forum and Discord. So it's really important for me, the communication part. And yeah, the delegates is a way to combat whales, because like in any DAO, the weakest link really is the possibility of just buying up a whole lot of tokens and then trying to manipulate the DAO to do whatever, like that person, that whale is in their best interest and not in the best interest of the whole community and the whole DAO. So yeah, I think it's a good way to delegate those voting powers to represent to be a representative candidate. So yeah, I would like to contribute to the decentralization by being like a node in all of this. Yeah, so next slide. Thank you. So the key points and strategies for the protocol. is the awareness of different websites. So I've seen like we have loads of different websites, like the Commonwealth, where the forum is, the Academy, doing analytics, and the actual dYdX, the governance. So making that a little bit more awareness in that, like, I don't know, try and get the like the main site to try and have all of these a bit more visible, so that because obviously governance and token holders won't be everybody. That, like, usually the users are going to be the ones that are going to try and buy or going to earn rewards by getting dYdX tokens, but there's some users that don't really care. They just want the experience of trading perpetual contracts, and that's it, and don't care about the governance or anything else. And I understand that, but trying to make a bit more awareness of that, different websites, and also have a clear communication with the token holders and hedgy holders in the Discord, like we're doing right now. And yeah, educating the best we can how perpetual contracts work. I've seen loads of questions on how to do the stop loss, and how to get a trade, how the leverage works, how is the isolated margin, how does it work, or if it's possible to do. And yeah, so, and also I've seen like sometimes people ask questions on the Discord, and I would like to like propose if there was a way for like the admins to give a bit of their schedule, so that the organization could organize itself a little bit better, in a sense of like everybody is in different time zones, so not everybody's working the same 9 to 5 or whatever X amount of hours. So if it could be a bit more like distributed, like say you can work in the morning or at night, because it's better for like the different other administrators to work around each other, you know, so that there's like a 24/7 at least 24/7 conversation on Discord if any question arises or whatever. Because as I say, it just gets blown away by the wind and on all the comments and posts that it goes on Discord. Yeah, so next slide. Governance values are my governance values. Are simple. I will always want the best for dYdX and the token holders, and if there's any matter that compromises those values, I will be strongly against them in the most ethical way. So I know there's always trade-offs in decentralization, and we have to compromise sometimes. We have to compromise them sometimes, but I will try to do my best to make the right call. So, for example, with the move to V4 to Cosmos, it was a bit of a surprise, like at least for me, because I didn't hear anything about it, and it was like a little bit of a insider thing. So just to have a bit more clarity and all that, if I was a delegate, I would strongly be like trying to communicate and trying to have more of a discussion. And nevertheless, I know it's the best move for decentralization and for the order book, and in reality won't change that much in the sense of the user experience. But yeah, it was just that, and also yeah, just discuss as much like the main thing is there's room to improve, like on these ethical and governance issues, and the best way is to communicate clearly between everybody. So that's the main point of all of this. Like, I think having a good communication with the people that delegate tokens is like the best way to clarify everything and to have the best like DAO and governance experience possible. So yeah, hope this puts like a person behind or a profile behind me, and I hope you're comfortable in delegating your tokens to me.
Yeah, thank you, AX07. That was awesome. So I got a question for you. It's really happy to hear you're an active trader. So we've been working on getting active traders as delegates, and we think it's important because they can relate more to the average user. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think you have an advantage in that respect?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm an active trader, well, since 2017, and after 2017 and 2019-20, I started like the BitMEX, started perpetual contract trading on BitMEX, and I really saw that it wasn't decentralized. Like the prices would move irrationally, and like you would get triggered like when another charge like Coinbase or whatever, it didn't go to that price. And I do relate like, and like the frustrating, because I've seen it even here in low liquidity pairs. Sometimes people just get stopped for no reason, and the chart doesn't show that, but it did. And yeah, so I do understand how frustrating that is to the average user.
Yeah, I totally agree. I really appreciate the presentation, and thank you for onboarding. And I'm going to open the floor now to any questions from ambassadors, users, anybody. Kind of just go at will here.
Yeah, perfect.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead, Nico.
Hello, everybody. So my question was, what type of chart reading do you use? I mean, strategies. Somebody use scalping, another one use spread analysis, and so on. As you tell before that you got quite long in trading, and what actually tools you feel that much more better?
Yeah, so like every trader has their own like style. So I like the 12 and 21 EMA. Obviously, I use a lot the volume. Volume is very important to me, and mainly just I trade patterns more than anything, and in every time frame. So it could be like from a daily time frame to a 5-minute chart, and it's mainly like equilibrium time frame. So like triangles. And but yeah, everybody's different, and maybe you're more comfortable with I don't know, trading the Fibonacci chart, doing a Fibonacci retracement and getting like your target and stop loss, or I don't know, Bollinger Bands. I know it's very popular. Elliott wave theory is also very interesting. I don't know if you know about the 4-year cycle as well. From Bob Lucas talks that about a lot, and it's just learning. It's a constant learning process that obviously it's not 100%. You never win 100%. It's all about risk management. And if you know how to manage your risk so you win more times than you lose, and the winners are bigger than the losers, you should be fine. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really. I don't know
Thank
if
you
it
for that,
answers your question.
AX07. I had a question. So do you think like a credential-based system using soulbound tokens would be like a net add for like the long-term health of the long-term future of the protocol?
Could you repeat it?
Yeah, I was just wondering if like your thoughts on like using like a credential-based system with soul-bound tokens.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't know really. Like, I think the way that we're doing it, like, for what I've seen, like every other decentralized protocol has a governance token, and there's different types of governance tokens on their own. Like, you have the curve, you can have the VE token, and where you stake it for a long amount of time. But I don't know how credentials would work, like the benefits for it, or like either the pros and cons of it. So yeah, I would have to look into that one a bit more. But yeah, so it's an ambiguous, I don't know.
No worries, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyone else want to ask a question here?
Can you tell about your most biggest fuck up in cryptosphere, and also your most biggest not win rate, but think about which you are very proud?
Yeah, so my biggest fuck up, I think it has to be when so it's a bit embarrassing, but yeah, during like the biggest and the biggest fuck up and the best thing that happened to me in crypto was basically like the same thing. So the biggest fuck up was like I got airdropped a token, and I wanted to trade it, like change it in a decentralized exchange like Uniswap. And then I received a message saying that I didn't have permission, so I had to give permission to give to that token. And I don't know why I didn't look at the command on MetaMask to see what I was giving permission to, but I was giving permission to use another token. And once I gave that permission, that token just went. So it was like a $5,000 fuck up. And the best thing that happened to me was also an airdrop. So dYdX was the best thing that happened to me. Like, I was using it because I just wanted a decentralized exchange to trade on, and I just received, like, right now it's even awesome as well. Like, you get rewarded for trading, but at the time you didn't get rewarded. But after a few like months of using it, I really got rewarded. So that was the best thing that happened as well. So yeah, airdrops would be the answer for that.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to touch base here. Is a lot of this is for governance related questions. So the trading questions are great. Potentially we could do those on the side. So more so delegate related questions. If anyone has any more, yeah, just come up and speak. If not, we can keep moving forward here. Nothing. All right, Alucard, you wanna take point here?
Hey, sorry. Can you guys hear?
Oh yeah, Starkwell. Go ahead.
Cool. Sorry about that. I had trouble unmuting. So actually, a really interesting idea or a concept or maybe focus, I think, is really important, especially for like really just clean community-focused governance. Is what are the plans for everybody in regards to I know this is like an option or like a focus towards that direction. But what are the meta plans or systems in place that are really going to help drive tons of community delegation towards these specific people? This is a great first step, but is like what, like there's like if we're going to be perfectly like clear and just not be around the bush or play games, there's a really strong demarcation between delegates who maybe have market maker focus and then the real pure community focused delegates. So how is that entrenched variance going to be balanced, or how are people going to catch it up?
Yeah, so I think communication is the key there. Like once everybody knows, like, and that's why I love this presentation, like the possibility of presenting myself and so that everybody knows who they're delegating their voting power to is important. So yeah, I think just communicating and talking to people and being active and mainly being like genuinely being trying to do the best for the protocol. Like I want dYdX. Like dYdX gave so much to me that I want to give all that I can to it back. So I think this is a great way to give back, and being active has been really enjoyable for me, doing the reports as well. So but yeah, everything has an incentive. So I think the token right now is only like for governance, like for voting power, and a little bit like for staking. But let's see, we have to discuss what's going to happen with the token, and hopefully we're gonna do the right move. And so trading rewards I think is a really good incentive, and so the hedges as well is a really good incentive. The trading fees for owning a hedgie, that's like awesome. And yeah.
Yeah, Stugwell, we've thought about that a lot too, and it's interesting. Like looking at MakerDAO, who in a way started really centralized, I guess, with the token, and over time we can see, especially with the recent vote, that they led to a decentralized model. So maybe it could have something to do with the way you incentivize people, quadratic voting. But I think even over time, protocols become more decentralized. What are your thoughts on that, though?
Are you
Yeah.
asking me, or are you asking X?
Well, I'm kind of just talking with you, Starkwell, here on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that it's really important to have some sort of incentivization for delegated members, because frankly, it's an opportunity, but at the same time, it is a job, because you have to keep up on protocol developments. You have to formulate your own proposals, and you really have to put in a lot of back-end operation to really be a good delegate. You have to do the legwork, and it's really not fair to expect someone to do the legwork just because they are a community member or they happen to own their own tokens. So yeah, I definitely I believe that that's a very core part of any sort of successful delegation program, and I do know what you mean in regards to Maker. It's really encouraging to see them over time. Really, I know that there's a really strong incentive, or there's a really strong focus or incentive to see things in a very adversarial light, because everybody owns tokens. Everybody wants to they want their tokens to be the tokens that are really successful, and that could mean different things for different people within the same protocol. So it's really important to find that cohesive unity. And I'm really happy to see that Maker got to that point where they have this really clear demarcation that was actually community focused and came out ahead of the entrenched players. Like, it's not even a situation where I want the community to come out ahead every time, because I feel like in any good system, it needs to be a give and take. So there needs to be periods where one group has a focus and they're able to push their focus forward. But it's really important to also have other groups that are able to push their focus forward, because it's only in that way that you get a really egalitarian, clean system. Otherwise, you have any sort of incentive heavily weighted towards one player, one group, one segment.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This is like our first step towards that direction, ideally.
Yeah, and it's a way of representation as well of that, like delegation group. Like it's a representation of the minority. So like, let's say you have like 5% delegated votes, and another one has 10, another one has 20. and then there's the hierarchy, like the guys on top, like what happened with MakerDAO, where like delegates would just vote because of they were just higher up and not giving enough value to the token, like the delegated token holders that gave that voting power to them to represent them in those matters, you know. So I'm with you as well with that.
Yeah, that's a great question. Do we have any more? Okay, here we go, Alucard. You're up.
Good. I just need 1 second here so you guys can chat while I set up some things. All right, sure. Let's get started. Why not? Yeah, I don't know how to follow that. We were getting really into the governance discussion. Now I gotta reset my mindset here. So I guess I'll go a bit of background about myself. You guys probably already heard of me or know me from the community. Alucard, also known as Chris. I'm a dYdX community manager as well as ambassador for the User Onboarding and Education Bureau. And in terms of my background, it's very simple. I started as an engineer, as a mechatronics engineer. I worked in aerospace for a few years. Then around 2014, 2015, I started looking to crypto, and then everything goes. You start trading, you start researching, and you start learning, and it becomes an experience. And in a similar story as to what I imagine a lot of you went through, you start with DeFi, and then you start learning about how protocols work, and also gotten a bit into Solidity programming and that side of things as well, deploying certain contracts, and yeah. So it's a bit of that background. And then my real focus has shifted over the past few years towards crypto education and really trying to improve that area for the space. There is a website that I run called Ultrasound Finance, where you can find some free DeFi education courses and learn about different protocols, and it aggregates a lot of the information that's out there, at least for the basic smart contracts and the basic DeFi 1.0 protocols. There really needs to be updates to update that soon, but yeah, that's a bit of that background. And then what I wanted to do with the rest of this time, because I don't waste everyone's time just talking about myself all day, I do want to spend some time talking about some of the resources that I particularly manage, and some of the resources that are available that may be useful to everyone in the community. And I want to make everybody aware of these resources, as I think it's easier to spread the word and sort of get everyone, if there's somebody new that comes into the community, you can point them into the right spot. A lot of my values go towards growing the community from a bottom-up approach, really driving growth from the individuals at this level, not necessarily from a corporate structure, but more of a community DAO-driven structure. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and then go over some of these things. So the first one you guys are probably all aware of is dYdX Academy.info, and then I won't go too much into detail on all these things, but there's information there if anybody's new and is looking to get started, as well as has links to a bunch of other developer resources, info pages on hedges, and a lot of the BOAP stuff, which I do manage. So you can take a look at that, and I'll drop some of these links in the general chat after going through them. And then the DAO page as well, more in the governance structure. So any of this documentation, I think it's really important that everybody's aware of it and can really look to find it. hedges.info, and then all the different pull-ups as incentives. In terms of how this relates into the endorsed delegates and why you should, I guess, delegate to me if you choose to do so. I really want to be able to make the experience for a new user coming into the community as easy as possible. I want what I ambition is a user comes into the server or finds us on Twitter or hears about dYdX, and they're able to come in and they're able to find a good experience in learning about the protocol, learning about the people that are involved, and not only finding what clicks with them specifically. Some people may be here just for the trading. Some people may come here for just hedges. Just, they love NFTs and they come here for hedges. Some people have a particular set of skills and they're looking for crypto jobs, and they may just want to get involved with the ambassador program or even apply to the foundation or to trading. And I think it's important to have all that information easily accessible to everyone and really, iterate on that over time as a community. One of the things, if you're interested to know more specifically about the values that I stand behind when it comes to building a community from a DAO perspective, there is a Medium article that I have, and I'll post it right now because I don't think many people are aware of this. And this is specifically for me, what I believe in terms of wanting to grow a community and what I really stand behind. So if you want more of the detail of that, feel free to read that. And that'll probably give you a pretty good idea of how I will be voting in a lot of cases. So I'll always try to prioritize sort of community empowerment over even most things. Just because I believe the best growth for the protocol is a growth in which you don't have 10, 20 whales and BCs that are in charge of everything, but you really have a lot of individuals with significant voting power and significant proposal power that are able to really drive positive growth from the community. And it's a process to get there. I don't think we're there yet. We're not nearly there yet. And hopefully as we move forward, we can drive growth in governance and we can drive growth in initiatives around hedges and in initiatives around real community participation in events and a lot of that. And I guess just to finish it off, I'll end it with some alpha of something that hasn't been announced yet, but I'll share here for everyone. There's now a dYdXacademy.com page. Now the domain may change at some point because there is a full dYdX Academy page that will be created that has more articles and is more of a Binance Academy style if you guys have seen that before. But for now, this is the page in which a lot of these courses are held. So the first course that's there available now, and this has been checked by Josh from the Endorsed Delegate program, is an Endorsed Delegate course. So if anybody here feels like, well, I don't really want to delegate to anyone here, I would like to be my own Endorsed Delegate, there's a course now that you can go through it and learn about the steps for filling out all the steps to become an Endorsed Delegate. It's really not very difficult at all. It's just a bit of knowledge base on how the governance systems work, and then a few, you develop your pitch, you agree to a code of conduct, you do a self-assessment, and then you post it on Commonwealth and on Discord, and to be honest, that's really it. And then some of the tools, and then as an incentive, I know Starkwell was talking that we really need incentives to drive this program. There is a dYdX Academy NFT collection there. I won't disclose many details of that because go ahead and do the course, and then you can learn about what that incentive is. We really want people to sign up and go through this. And then, moving forward for that, what I envision for this Endorsed Delegate program, because I know this was something we were just talking about, on the migration from B3 to B4, and as we move the dYdX token from Ethereum to Cosmos to be used for validators and staking. I would really like to see during that process the ability for current token holders to get a list of endorsed delegates that they can choose from. So when they do the migration, they can also delegate their voting power during that same process, similar to how you have seen with recent airdrops like Optimism airdrop, asking users to delegate voting before claiming the airdrop. A similar process, but during the migration to B4. And what I envision for that happening is I really would like to see a list of like 50 to 100 strong endorsed delegates from the community that are there ready to be allocated voting power. So I guess part of what I'm saying here is if you feel it might be difficult to get other people to delegate to you, obviously you have to sell yourself and all that, but I would really encourage everyone to still go through the process, because there may be opportunities in the future in which it becomes easier for that to happen. And if you really feel that you have a perspective about the community or governance or how we should shape dYdX in the future, specifically, hedges and all that, then your voice really matters. Like, this is definitely a protocol that does listen to community feedback. And I know the trading team, and sometimes it may not seem like it because they're really laser focused on before, but they really do listen and take into account community feedback, and they look for ways of implementing suggestions and the foundation even more so. They really want to drive that narrative. So there's room for everybody to get involved here, and I guess where I see my role is trying to facilitate that and empower people to be able to drive that growth as well. So that's my pitch there for that.
Awesome, Alucard. I got a quick question. So I'm curious, I guess it's more of out of my own curiosity, but how'd you find dYdX, and what made you want to stay?
Oh, how did I find dYdX? I found dYdX originally where you had the first version on Ethereum, which arguably wasn't that great. Gas fees were a big, it was fine during DeFi summer, but then it became really difficult to use. So did other DeFi protocols like synthetics and all that. They became really difficult to use when gas spiked. So then that's when I originally found it, and then I lost some interest in it. And then once they launched their perpetuals trading protocol, I really came back and I did a lot of trading, trying to get better. It's just another skill set, right? From a personal perspective, I love learning new skills and try to develop them as much as I can. And so it was out of a desire just to improve my trading skills, really, through trial and error. I did blow up an account or two in the process. I think it happens to every trader when they get started. But at the back end of that, I did manage to get, obviously, the airdrop, and then that caught my interest even more. And then, one thing leads to another, and then you see this as a real good product experience and something that has a lot of potential. And so part of my motivation is, well, let's see what we can build out of this great product if we can also build a great community around it and really merge the two together and create a whole ecosystem that really leads the way in sort of this crypto experiment, if you want to think about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's we have such a great community here. Everyone's still active with the market the way it is. It's great to see. One more question. So, like, what are like something that personally interests you within governance or within the protocol or things like that?
Specifically to dYdX or in
Yeah,
crypto?
I guess it can be anything governance related, I guess, but like, or dYdX, but more so, what are some personal crypto interests?
All right. Yeah, one of the things that really fascinates me is the cultural implications of NFTs and where a lot of that growth can come in for brand development and for product development, and sort of how that can link to other communities and how that can connect the sort of world together. And what I mean by that is, obviously right now we have a bunch of NFT communities all over the place. You got Bored Ape Jack Club, and then you got other communities, NFT projects. You got Hedgies, and you got other ones, and they also sort of live in their own little bubbles. sort of their own Discord servers and their own communities. What really fascinates me is looking at ways in which those communities can live together in a bigger space. Some people call that a metaverse, but I guess in other terms is how can we connect those communities together and make it part of an even bigger ecosystem, and what are the implications of that when it comes to, you know, corporations looking to acquire space and whatever that metaverse ends up looking for marketing purposes or for brand development and all that, and how combining all these groups of people together really it adds value to the same people that are in those communities. It really leads to that community ownership of whatever network gets developed. So that's really something that's fascinating to me. And then the other thing is how to provide liquidity, like a good liquidity markets to NFTs, and how we can evolve that moving forward. So they're less illiquid and they're more sort of like tokens to really open the accessibility to other projects. And then the other last thing would be how to enable intellectual property rights with NFTs. So say you own a patent for something, how do you tokenize that? And then how maybe you can rent out the property rights on chain and do all sorts of more real world applications with those NFTs rather than just the cultural element. So that's really what is really ticking my brain right about now.
Yeah, it's such a new market. There's so much opportunity left there.
Mm-hmm.
So now we'll open the floor up. Any community questions, ambassadors?
Yeah,
Anybody?
Alucard, thank you for that. I have a question. You mentioned voter incentivization. So I was wondering, do you have any ideas on how we should incentivize voting?
Off-chain voting or on-chain voting?
Either voting, right? Just being engaged and participating in the voting process.
Yeah, I think one of the most critical things is people don't vote if they don't think their vote will matter. I think that's a general statement that applies for most people, even in the real world, right? Like if you live in a democratically elected government, if you don't feel your voting matters, you're less likely to vote. So I think it comes to two things. Obviously, you can add some sort of crypto or token incentive to get people to vote. But I think one of the most impactful ways that people overlook is if we can establish a level of communication between the core team, the foundation, and really the community, then that level of communication can make a lot of community members feel like their votes really, really matter and that they're being listened to. And even if I vote and it's only, you know, I only have 100 dYdX tokens, it doesn't matter because I know that whatever I write in Commonwealth, people, you know, the team will look at and it will matter and they will take it into consideration, or other endorsed delegates will take it into consideration. And I think it's a matter of, making, and that's a very, I know that's probably a very vague answer in terms of that, but it comes from an increase in communication, and it comes from a sense of community where everybody feels like they're in it together rather than being their own individual, which doesn't have a lot. But if we feel like we're all a big group, that collectively we have sufficient voting power, sufficient say to really drive initiatives that are beneficial for the community and the protocol, then I think that's how we really incentivize. Because the reality is we can't just give everyone, you know, thousands of dYdX in tokens and suddenly everybody has voting power. That's realistically not how smart contracts work. But we can drive that sense of community and collectively can create that change. Cool. I think your mic is muted, MX.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, thanks. So along the similar lines, like of like voter apathy and, you know, not feeling like you have a say, do you have any plans to expand your onboarding program for the endorsed delegates to keep endorsed delegates engaged that may feel like they don't have any say?
Well, there is the dYdX Academy NFT collection, which does have to do with the endorsed delegate. If you complete that course, I don't want to spoil that because I really want people to sign up for that. But there is an incentive there for endorsed delegates, and it's more of a long-term track record of significant contributions to the community. And let's just say having proof of significant contributions to the community over time can really be valuable if you're trying to convince other people to delegate votes to you.
Perfect. So it sounds like you would be in favor of like incorporating a credential-based system into voting.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for
What
that,
that
Max.
looks like, it's up to discussion in the community, of course.
Yeah, community vote. Do we have anyone else here with a question?
So I got one question. When first time you introduce yourself, you tell about one situation with tanks. Can you tell a little bit more about this?
What situation specifically, Nico?
That you suddenly got somewhere in Canada and around of you there were a lot of tanks, like machines or something like this. I remember that you tell about this on 1st of huddles.
A lot of machines. Do you just want to know more about my engineering background? Is that what you're asking, or how I got
Yes.
into?
Yes,
Okay.
about.
Oh
this-
yeah, for sure. So I live in Canada. I went to the University of Calgary. Calgary is in Alberta. It's sort of like the Texas of Canada, if you want to think about it that way. And yeah, from there I studied mechanical engineering. Then from there I worked a few years on the aerospace industry. I helped program basically turbofans engines for Delta Airlines and Rolls-Royce as a contractor. And I got to work on big test facilities for turbofan engines, which are the engines that go in the 787 and the Dreamliner and all those for the Trent XWB and the 1000. And then I got to work on a few military contracts with some fighter jet engines. It was a lot of fun. It was a very fun industry, but it was an industry which every year felt like 5 years. There was a lot of travel, but it was very, very demanding on personal life. And so I stepped away from that, and then I started an engineering consulting company. And that's still going on, and at the same time pushing on the boundaries of crypto, because I think this is the future, and I think it will affect every industry. That includes engineering, and that includes any industry out there. I think it's it's as big of an impact as reworking the entire financial system. And I think being on the forefront and really understanding how to build a company or how to build a community from the ground up in terms of community first, I think those are going to be very impactful lessons that, at least personally for me, are going to help me down the line. So that's a bit of my personal motivation as well. Hopefully that answers that question.
Yes, sure. And also, I want to ask you, according to your opinion, what advantages and what killer features dYdX got on comparing another DEX platforms, same on same trading sphere and also on community and etc.
So you're asking what what killer features do I feel dYdX has or could acquire?
What they actually got and what in future they can get that will be like rank 1 or top 3 DEX platforms and so on.
Yeah, I think accessibility is a big feature. I think the user interface in dYdX is probably its biggest killer feature. It's excellent. It's definitely the first application that I remember trying on built on Ethereum or layer 2 of Ethereum, in which I didn't even realize I was using Ethereum, and that is a knock on the gas fees and that sort of clunkiness with that. So I do value the entire sort of product maximalism that dYdX has, in which the objective is to create the best product out there. I think that's one of its biggest strengths there, because it allows them to keep evolving and adopting new technology to be able to test ways in which to improve the product experience. And I think that's probably the biggest factor to the success of dYdX so far. And in terms of future features, I would like to see really the other aspect of dYdX be the community, be a killer feature, be a place in which not people join, not just to trade, but to really, enjoy themselves as part of the community, talk with other people, learn about, share experiences, and really become a place in which they can spend a lot of personal time learning and growing and really enjoying this whole Web3 experiment. So I think the other killer feature that I want dYdX to have is really a killer community experience, because I think that also benefits the protocol, right? Like the more sticky a community is for people because they enjoy it and they find value in it, the more likely they are to use the dYdX products, and so that leads to overall growth in the protocol.
Yeah, I love that point. I think like we have advantages being a DEX with the respect that if you're a community member, you can get involved, and where there's not really a big community forming around Coinbase, for example. And also
right.
everything's audible on the blockchain. So like people who are really in depth trading, they can see everything that's going on. It's another big advantage, especially with all this stuff we see in the news every day today, right?
I'm also fully agree with you, and maybe as you mentioned, all time on same AMAs or hedge huddles and so on, we got same people, and also in Discord chat we got activity from same people who actually bring some additional news, memes, and actually make good relations inside this one community.
Yeah, I think a lot of the hedges have the same mindset, right? And in terms of the development for hedges, I really want to see hedges grow and expand, not only for the sake of hedges, but because it also massively benefits the protocol and can lead to even more volume and trading in the protocol, right? If you incorporate hedges as the sort of marketing phase of dYdX in the metaverses that other projects are creating or that are being created right now, that's just a lot of marketing and foot traffic that runs into hedges. In they see a group of, like, imagine a metaverse that gets millions of people walking through it every day, and in one part of that metaverse you have all the hedges hanging out in there, and then you get hundreds of thousands of people walking through that metaverse every day. That's recurring advertisement for the dYdX brand and the protocol to grow, right? And we advertise our community, ourselves, and our community values as well, right? And if we make that a really sticky experience where anybody that comes around our little corner of the metaverse or little community, they find a lot of personal value as a result, and they just want to stay around, and that leads to a lot of community capture and growth, right? And then ultimately, I believe that translates into growth for the protocol as well.
Yeah, I have a quick question. What are your conflicts of interest when it comes to voting?
When it comes to trading, to
voting. Sorry, voting.
Wording.
Voting on a proposal.
Oh, working on a proposal. Yes, of course. I do have stake dYdX. You can see on chain if you go to dYdX DAO.info, there's an endorsed delegate directory. You can find the tracking tool And on the tracking tool, you can see how much voting power each endorsed delegate has, as well as how much tokens they all own. I have kept all my tokens in the same wallet as my endorsed delegate wallet, so you can see exactly how much I own. I own 2 hedges. And then aside from that, not much else in terms of conflict of interest. Obviously, I have stake in the protocol and hedges. But aside from that, I have, in terms of my personal investments, I got a diversification. My portfolio is pretty diversified around layer 2s and mainly the Ethereum ecosystem, so Polygon ecosystem. I'm not really much into the Binance ecosystem or AVAX or the Solana ecosystem. So I guess if you want to say, well, what's my biggest conflict of interest? You could say people view me maybe as a bit of an Ethereum maximalist because I believe in that sort of, not that it's the only thing, but I guess more of an EVM maximalist, Ethereum virtual machine, and all of those components and the layer 2 narrative. So that would be my biggest conflict of interest, I think. And then aside from that, I do work as a community manager from the foundation, so you guess be aware of that. Yeah. And then aside from that, not much else that I can think of from the top of my head. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. Thanks for the questions, guys. If we have any more, if not, we'll wrap it up here. Couple more seconds. Okay, well, thanks everyone for being here. This was our first iteration of Meet the Delegate. We learned some good lessons here on how to improve it. So, yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great day.